Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Man Industries India Limited Q4 FY21 earnings conference call. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touch-tone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Mahantesh from Man Industries. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. I, Mahantesh, Manager Investor Relations, welcome you all to the Q4 and FY21 earnings conference call of Man Industries India Limited. I have with me from the management, Dr. R.C. Mansukhani, Chairman, Mr. Nikhil Mansukhani, Executive Director, Mr. Ashok Gupta, the CFO, and Mr. Jatin Shah, Group Head, Legal and Company Secretary. We will have a brief opening remarks from the management, followed by Q&A. Please note that this call may contain some forward-looking statements involving risks and uncertainties. Listeners are requested not to put any undue reliance on facts presented during the call. With this, I hand over the call to Mr. Nikhil Mansukhani for his opening remarks, followed by the financial update. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mahantesh. Good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome to our Q4 and FY21 earnings conference call. I hope every one of you and your family are healthy and safe. We have completed yet another challenging year, and I'm happy with the performance our team has delivered during these tough times. We have seen a strong growth trajectory in addition of new orders and successfully navigated the pandemic, which has otherwise disrupted various other sectors. Let me start by briefing on the financial performance during the quarter and the year. In Q4 FY21, we reported a total income of 557 crores. The EBITDA stood at 59 crores as compared to 47 crores in Q4 FY20. A growth of 24% in EBITDA margin and a margin of 10.6%. PAT for the quarter is rupees 26 crores, up by 107%, and PAT margin stood at 4.6% up from 1.9% during Q4 FY20. For the full year of the company's total income stood at 2100 crores, a growth of 19% year on year compared to FY20. The EBITDA stood at 236 crores as compared to 185 in FY20. A growth of 28% year on year. EBITDA margin improved to 11.2% and the PAT stood at 100 crores, a growth of approximate 81% year on year with a PAT margin of 4.8%. We continue to see a strong traction in demand as oil and gas majors are ramping up their capex plans. This is reflected in a strong order book which stood at approx 1600 crores as on 31st March 21. Our bid book is also very robust and is approximate 12,000 crores. Now coming to some operational and corporate developments during the year, I would like to highlight that to further strengthen the board, our company has appointed Mr. M. Narendra as an independent director. He is an eminent banking professional having more than 40 years of experience. He is an ex-chairman and MD of Indian Overseas Bank, and we welcome him and look forward to his guidance. Also this year we took a major step towards monetizing our non-core assets. We have proposed to disinvest 100% of our equity investment held in Marino Shelters Private Limited. The proceeds of this shall be used for the capex plans of the company for enhancing the product portfolio and entering various value-added segments. To give you an update about the demerger of Man Industries and Man Infra Projects, during the year we had called for the record date pursuant to the scheme of demerger to determine the list of shareholders, and we have applied to the Bombay High Court to direct MIPL to allot the free equity shares to the list of shareholders of Man Industries. Now let me touch upon our growth strategy and plans for the near future. We are seeing a good demand in steel pipes both in the oil and gas sector and the water segment. In oil and gas segment, the domestic plant capex of PSUs majors is set to increase as per the directives given by the government to increase spending on infra. Also, focus is given on domestic procurement of materials. The aim is to increase the contribution of gas and the overall energy mix along with the increase of network of natural gas which generate demand for pipes. On the water-related infrastructure, we have also started to see opening of tenders as the focus is shifting back, and we are hopeful to see some more orders from this segment as well. Significant initiatives from the central and the state government will generate demands in this segment. Plans to supply and connect various urban bodies and household connections of drinking water under the Jal Jeevan Mission, Swachh Bharat Mission, and Amrut Mission will be the key drivers. We are confident of tapping the opportunities arising in this industry and secure new orders both domestic as well as global markets. Our current capacity of pipe provides us enough room to grow in this segment without any further capex. In addition to growth in the current business, we are looking at value-added segments which would help us to grow and improve our margins as well. We have planned a capex of approximately 130 crores to enter into manufacturing of ERW pipes with an installed capacity of approximate 125,000 tons. This is the new ERW pipe manufacturing line which will be set up at our Anjar, Gujarat facility. The decision to enter into this ERW pipes manufacturing has been backed by strong demand for pipes from the city gas distribution segment. With increasing penetration of city gas distribution and government plans to increase consumption of gas in the energy mix, we feel it is the right time to enter the segment and grab the opportunity. Our vast and over 4-decade experience will help us develop and execute the projects in ERW profile and open up new revenue stream going ahead. We are confident that our current offering along with ERW pipes will drive the growth in the future, and we expect it to be operational by April 2022. We expect that our enhanced manufacturing capabilities and excellent execution capabilities will enable us to scale up our business, and overall we remain committed to set agenda for delivering consistent and profitable growth. This is all from our side, and I would request Mr. R.C. Mansukhani and the team for any questions to be taken up now. Thank you so much.
Should we open up for questions?
Yes.
Hello. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin with the question and answer session. Anyone wishing to ask a question may please press star and 1 on your touch-tone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Ayush Agarwal from Mittal Analytics. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. I have a few questions. One is on our cash flow.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Agarwal. Sir, your voice is sounding very soft.
Am I audible now?
Much better. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity. I have a few questions. The first one is on our cash flow. So if you see, we started the year, FY21. That is that we ended FY20 with around 200 crores of cash on our book, 220 crores. But during FY21, a lot of it went into our working capital. Like if you see around, our inventory went up quite a bit, and our other current liabilities went down. So net, we incurred a huge operating cash flow, outflow, which led to a negative cash flow generation. Speaking from operating this thing. So my question is, how do you see that going? And as a result, we could not repay our debt. So if you could guide us, how do you see the cash flow panning out in this year, and do we see this on a sustained basis?
Hello, Mr. Agarwal. Good afternoon to all the participants. I will request to Ashok Gupta, our CFO, to answer this question, and what is the technicality involved, he will be he is going to explain in a much better way.
Yes, Mr. Ayush, as regards your query on cash flows, we understand that during on 31st March 2020 there is a cash flow of 200 crores stands in the balance sheet, whereas during the current year it has come down to about 100 crores. That is about 17 crores in cash and cash equivalent, and around 5 crores has been given as encumbered cash margin to the bankers for opening of our LCs and bank guarantees. You would appreciate that during the current year our receivables had increased considerably to around 690 crores. It is just because we had some export order with some usance period in Q4, and some receivables which were supposed to happen 100% in during March, but because of second wave of COVID, the receivables got stuck up, and all the receivables now we got in April and during April and May. Our current cash flow situation is good enough to take care of our short-term and long-term liabilities. Fortunately, we doesn't have any long-term liabilities in our books. So whatever short-term liabilities are there is being paid on time, and we have sufficient cash flow to take care of our all the liabilities.
So as a result, we can see debt on our balance sheet going down in this year.
Long-term debt in any case it is.
No. Short-term debt.
Short-term debt is a regular business short-term debt in the form of this cash flow limit utilization. That remains in the books, and further, if we are going for capex during the year, then we may have some additional long-term debt in our books.
Right. All right. That's good to know, sir.
Yeah.
So my second question is that what would be the impact on our business because of rising steel prices, and where does it stand currently, and how do you see it going forward?
Yeah. Can you repeat the question once again, please?
I'm asking what would be the impact of rising steel prices on our margins and overall business.
Yeah, I will reply this question. Because the commodity prices gone worldwide, normally in our business, because of the project business, we tie up back to back tie up of the steel. And some mechanism of the price expression is there in some cases. Some cases there is no mechanism. But most of the quantity, we always book 80-90% of the project quantity. We normally book it to avoid this kind of incident. So whatever steel prices is gone up this moment, and whatever coming up the projects would be there, ultimately has to be passed through. So it is a matter of only few days, a few weeks, the new tender, all will be the new prices where we will take care. The impact of commodity increase prices will be minimal on us.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's good to know, sir. If I can be allowed another question, that would be, sir, what do you think about, dividend or buyback? Because we did not see any final dividend. And what do you think about shareholders' value creation?
See, the last year we paid two bill dividend. Normally we give the one with interim and the final dividend, but we decided it. This year we have some ERW to city gas to cover the city gas market, and that's why the money is deploying over there for bright future. But we are thinking in few months, maybe Q2, after we will review again the situation, and we will see how our shareholders will be rewarded. We will come back.
Just a follow-up on this, since you mentioned ERW, so what can be the asset turns from this capex, and what can be the margins we can expect?
Generally, our industry, if you see, our EBITDA between 10 to 12. This year was also better than last year, and we hope in future also will be in this range, a little bit better, because our order book position and all the matters are good respectively and relatively.
I'm talking specifically about the ARW division that we plan to start in FY23. So,
yeah, ARW we are going to start 2022 April onward. So all the benefit of the ARW will come in the 22-23.
correct.
But the current year our order position is comfortable, which will give the sufficient yield to reward our shareholders.
No, I'm asking what can be the asset turns on this capex and what can be the margins from this particular capex.
Mr. Gupta, if you have any handy details, can you give us?
Yeah, I have. Hi, this is Nikhil here. So for the ERW, basically for the capex that we are doing, we can get a top line revenue between 800 to 1100 crores.
Additional
revenue, and the EBITDA margin is like we said between 10 to 12%.
All right, that's really helpful. I'll come back in the queue for more questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Jyoti Vardhan Jaipuria from Valentis Advisors Private Limited. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Hi. So, I guess we mentioned that we've seen an increase in EBITDA during the quarter, but a lot of it is because we have this other income of 17 crores. So if we strip out the other income, actually EBITDA is only 42 crores for the quarter, which is way below last March, and it's one of the lowest we've had. So one is, what is the other income which is there, 17 crores, and why the EBITDA got compressed this quarter?
Mr. Gupta will reply this thing, our CFO, but in Mota Moti, I will tell you, the other income is related to only business, not else. If the foreign exchange fluctuations or export incentive, it is a part of the business, not some other income. Mr. Gupta will be more elaborate if you wish.
Yeah.
So, during the current quarter, as you rightly said, we have a other income of about 16 crores. That other income is mainly consists of gain on this exchange, foreign exchange. Furthermore, we had some write-offs of about 33-34 crores during the quarter. So if we reduce the other income and add this write-offs, then our operating margin is in line with other quarters.
Okay, sorry. So we had a write-off of 33 crores, you said?
Yeah.
This was for what?
These routine business receivables, which are pending in the books for quite a long time, and just to have a prudent accounting, to follow prudent accounting practices, we have decided to provide for those receivables which are outstanding for quite a long time. Maybe in future we may get some of the amount which has already been provided in the books, and as and when we receive it, we will offer for the income.
Okay. So that was a large write-off, like 33 crores.
Yeah, it is a multiple number of entries.
Yeah. Okay, because I'm just wondering if it's such a large write-off.
Good corporate governance and good accounting practices.
Yeah, means I'm wondering if it's such a large write-off.
Yeah.
If you give a note, then it helps people understand. Because the first reaction of everybody was that margins have collapsed during the quarter.
Future is we will take care of this.
Yeah, because
we understand.
The money will come back.
Yeah.
Means at least like if we do a write-off, if we disclose it, then it helps people understand what happened.
Yes.
Otherwise, like my reaction and most other people in the market was that the margins have just fallen off a cliff.
Oh, okay. Otherwise, it is permissible in the account, then we will be happy to.
It is permissible, but this time we really missed it out. And in future we will take care. Such an important note we will give by way of note.
Yeah. Okay, the second question I had is this MIS benefits have gone away, right?
Yeah.
So have we got some more color from the government on the new scheme?
Not really. this MEIS scheme is withdrawn from 1st of September 2020.
Yeah.
And government has introduced the new scheme of for export incentives in the name of RoDTEP. This is remission of duties and taxes on export products.
Yeah.
Though the scheme has already been announced, but the incentive rates has not been notified by the government. So that's the reason we have on exports from 1st of September 2020 till date, we had not provided for any kind of export incentive in our books.
Yeah. So what would be the rough loss or whatever rough reduction in?
It was basically 3%. 3% of our FOB value of the exports for last 5 months from September, October, November. 5 months if you take, the loss is almost about 17-18 crores.
Okay. So that is something which is missing, and we'll have to see what happens in future.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right, sir.
Okay. Thank you. That's it from my side. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next question. That is from the line of Pranay Zaveri from J&J Holdings. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon. Thank you for this opportunity. Sir, as I can see, the write-off throughout the year is around 70 crores. So if you can just throw some light on that figure and who were the customers or how long was this item pending and how much is yet to be written off?
See, this year you are right, as you rightly said, that we have provided for almost about 70 crores of write-offs in our annual accounts. Out of that, around 34 crores was provided in Q4, and the remaining amount was provided for first 3 quarters. These data are long outstanding on our books of accounts, and it was multiple entries from domestic as well as export front, where some of the outstanding was on account of some reconciliation going on for last long time. So just for a better accounting presentation, that we have decided to provide for those debtors which are coming outstanding in the books for quite a long time. And whenever the recovery happens, same shall be accounted and offered to income.
Now, how much is yet to be written off?
The maximum part has already been cleaned up. Maybe you can say another 15-20 crores left, so which we will see how and when to provide.
So after this 20 crores, there is nothing which is old, anything to be written off, nothing disputed.
Not really.
It will come. It might be come back much more because arbitration in our favor and is going on.
Okay, sir. Okay. And sir, what is our gross debt and net debt as on 31st March?
The gross debt, we have some long-term debt of about 3 crore rupees and short-term debt of about 280 crores as on 31st March.
280?
280 crores.
That would include your short-term maturities also, right, sir?
280 crores is basically all short-term maturities. That is maturities due in 3 to 6 months, and some working capital, this cash credit kind of facilities, which is in continuing nature, that is about 100 crores.
So nothing else is there in that other financial liabilities, right?
Nothing.
Okay. And what would be our net debt? So you said around 283 crores is our gross debt. What would be the net debt?
Our gross debt is not 483. It is total 283 plus 3 crores. It is almost 292 crores.
Okay. And 100 crores in cash and bank, right?
Cash and bank, we have about 100 crores of rupees.
102 crores.
Yeah. So, separate side, we can say our net debt is about 190 crores.
Okay. And sir, what would be our average cost of debt?
Average debt of cost, if we are talking about fund-based limits, it is almost about 9 to 10%. And NFB limits, our major utilization on account of utilization of towards NFB limits for issuance of raw material LCs and long-term bank guarantees. So there our average cost, you can say it is around 1.5% to 2%.
So how do we see your finance cost? Because if I see your total finance cost, which is about 53 crores for the whole year,
yeah,
and your debt figures, which is closer to about 200 crores for the whole year. So how do we bifurcate this figure into bank charges as well as your interest cost?
Interest cost is almost about 30 crores. Taking together term loans as well as Ujans interest and cash credit limits interest. And rest in the form of LC and bank guarantee charges. Rest amount is around 20 crores is LC and bank guarantee charges.
Okay, sir. I have further questions. I'll come back in with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next question. That is on the line of Mr. Rajendra Shah, an investor. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thanks for the opportunity. Regarding the previous question only, bad debts, which is appearing into the cash flow statement nearly 69.79 in this whole year balance sheet.
Right.
And the half year it was nearly 19,000 roughly we had written off. Why it was written off during this year? We had not made any provision for the bad debts earlier year. Looking to the size of this debt, you don't think that we should have done it prudently over the previous year also?
Mr. Rajendra, you are right to say.
Something amount.
Pardon?
Like every year, whatever we did crystallize earlier also, this time was little lower.
No, but this is not a small account, Ramesh bhai.
Yeah.
This is not a small amount. Every year we should review, auditor should review it and give the correct picture of the profitability. If I see the correct profitability of this particular year, it is nearly 283 crore around the cash flow is there, rather than showing the 134. So our EBITDA margin, everything is getting changed. You should have given into the presentation also this. We have earned this much EBITDA. If you edit these bad debts into the particularly in our cash flow, from where it has been deducted like this way. Correct picture should have been given, no, sir? And what is the reason of this much? See, if I add this 33 crore rupees, which has been written into the last quarter,
yeah,
what is the exact amount of operating profit which will come, sir, percentage-wise?
EBITDA margin, if you add this 33 crores write-off, EBITDA margin for the quarter would be around 13%.
13%?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it is, at present, it is nearly 12%?
Around 11%.
Around 11%. So nearly roughly this 100 crore to 70 crore, this and the 2 crore rupees provision for the doubtful debt which is showing that has been deducted from that.
Yeah.
But sir, please keep the every year review and do it provision for this debt.
Sure.
This debt was how much long it was, sir, which we have written off. And what has happened that we have to write off, we have decided to write off now. Any color on this?
No, Mr. Shah, Mr. Gupta, I want to explain something because this is a legal issue also, this issue. There are some settlement, some arbitration, and some expectation in future also. The safe side, we decided to put on this, made the provision. and some matters are going on. There are recovery chances are very bright, and we will add in the income.
No, that is right, sir. But I don't say no.
Yeah.
But if the matter is going, whatever the nature it is, you should be clearly mentioned into it. See, you have given the investor presentation, sir.
Yeah.
In this presentation, if you have added this thing, everybody could come to know that this is the matter which is going on and which has been written of 33 crore, hence our PBT or a PAT is like this way.
So we will be more prudent.
You could have given a good color onto your balance sheet. No?
In future, we will give the good color, whatever you wish. We will see within the permissible limit, within the guidelines, the account is that you are, as I understand, you yourself are a chartered accountant, as I know.
Right. You are knowing me, no, sir?
हाँ मैं तो जानता हूँ सर आपको तभी तो बोल रहा हूँ मैं आपको we are taking in the good spirit. We are taking the good spirit. Whatever possible to more transparency and more this thing, whatever possible within the law. We will definitely improve in future.
Right. And regarding this 15 to 20 crore which we are talking about, this is how much old? This is the debt.
These debts are
ongoing प्रोसेस होता है और इसलिए अभी जब हमारे आर्बिट्रेशन वगैरह चल रहे हैं तो अभी ठीक है अभी 2-3-4 महीने में हमारे 2-3 डिसीजन आ गए तो हो जाएगा पर ओके रिगार्डिंग मोर क्लियरिटी एक्सेट्रा वी विल पुट इन द फ्यूचर.
Okay, sir. And another question, can you be able to give the quarterly breakup for the current year? How much we will operate, sir? What type of turnover it will come into the quarter by quarter? See, our turnover is on the project basis.
Yes.
So it is varies from the year, quarter to quarter. Some quarter it comes more, some quarter it comes less. So will you please give some color on this? How this year it will be span off into the 4 quarters?
Sir, Mr. Shah, I will explain this thing. The total order position we already given. Now we cannot divided by 4. Some quarters, different grade of pipe and different kind of coating. You must be knowing this kind of business is a project business.
Yes, that's why I said no, it's a project base.
Yeah, so some quarter, no, we cannot, we do our projection as per the availability of the raw material, as per the shifting of the client, as per the shipment, etc. A lot of the variables. We try to keep the variables, whatever possible under control. So exact projection is difficult, but I can say in the broader way, कंपनी के 2100 करोड़ का टर्नओवर है 50-100 करोड़ किसी क्वार्टर में कम होता है एक क्वार्टर में ज्यादा होता है बिकॉज ऑफ द ग्रेड ऑफ द पाइप कोटिंग व्हाट क्वार्टर इज फॉलिंग we do not know. Next quarter maybe little bit different, maybe next quarter much better. So this is the nature of the industry is like that. We cannot allow 100%, but we will. We try
but
to.
Sir, but sir, in the first quarter, do you feel that there is a decrease into the turnover, or it will remain whatever we have planned out?
सर देखिए कुछ भी प्रोजेक्शन बना है साथ में कभी कोविड होता है कभी क्या होता है चीजें तो बदलती रहती है सर तो मैं तो आपको 4 क्वार्टर का कागज बना के बता दूंगा but actually we can achieve more also whatever.
Okay, so overall the projection is for the year, how much growth do you expect, sir?
The growth, last year we made the growth around 20%.
Right.
And if you see the PAT, 80%, more than 80% growth was there. This growth
will be more than that, sir. Actually 70 crore आप जो इसमें ऐड करो तो it could have been more than that.
तो वापस आ जाएंगे सर तो फिर वापस आगे जाके फिर आपके पैसे हो तो आपको ही मिलने वाले हैं ना तो उसमें अब उसमें जो आएंगे उसमें आ जाएंगे तो जब तक matter will be resolved.
Okay, sir. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Shah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Yash Mehta from LM Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity, sir. Sir, as you had said that you are planning to do a ARW division for about 120 crore capacity expansion. The money which you are going to use, it is from the Merino shelter disinvestment?
It is a plant in the both manner, our own only cash accrual,
Okay.
which we already have. The total project is around more than 160 crore.
Okay.
Some other upgradation of the plant also is done already. Our own process, maybe little bit loan, and Merino is in top priority. Ultimately we have to sell and deploy to the company. That money will also come. So ultimately, that money will go to the project only.
Okay. So by when can we expect the Merino shelter disinvestment to get over in this financial year?
Yeah. We got some clients and we are discussing with them to upload our equity, and accordingly we have approached to our financial institute also to get the NOC. That is under process. We hope it will be done very soon.
Okay.
Thank you.
And one more question regarding the pledged shares. Is there any plan to reduce the pledged shares in this financial year?
It is already released from the bank.
Okay.
During the year, and now it's very minimal. I think it is technically with the Union Bank of India some share, maybe only 3-4% share are pledged, which will be released also next two months, because it was a specific loan which we already repaying.
Okay.
It will be released totally.
Okay. And sir, can we expect a 20% outlook for FY22 with the same margins?
It is a future the future guidance, which I can say the order book position is company comfortable, and this year is only started this moment.
Okay.
And it's still 10 months to go. The new order also come, which we are expecting the good growth. Whatever you are saying, maybe that's why time to time we will review quarter to quarter review, but we are saying the good growth.
Okay. Okay. And is there any impact of COVID in Q1?
Q1 COVID, definitely there was a hit in the month of April because of 40-50% got affected with our one plant.
Okay.
And 8-20% at Indore. Anjar plant was around 50-60 people. Unfortunately, things were very bad. But now things are improving. Now we have come back to our production again, 80-90% of our capacity. People come back and people are now, nothing is hospitalized. They are almost come back on the duty.
Okay. So what is our current capacity utilization?
Current capacity utilization will be around 60-70% as per the product mix basis. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. That's it from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Anirudh Agarwal from AAA Investments. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the opportunity and congrats on passing the 100 crore mark on your profit after tax this year. My first question was actually on the Q4 gross margins, continuing from the previous participant's question. So what exactly happened that our gross margins actually expanded by 10%? And then despite taking a write-off of 34 crores, we displayed good EBITDA.
Yeah. So because of the value-added product, some quarters doing very well, coating business or other business. Mr. Gupta can explain much better because of the gross margin profit. Definitely this quarter increase after taking the hit of some doubtful debt. Also we had done the better.
Mr. Anirudh, basically what happened, we always have a mixed bucket of the orders. In some orders, the realization and margins are really good, and some orders, the margins are reasonable. So during Q4, we executed some orders for locally as well as export order, where we had handsome margins. So that's the reason Q4 operating margin, even after writing off around 30-35 crores, our operating margins are better.
Right, sir. So then continuing with that, what do you expect it to be for next year given the current order book position? So I understand we have visibility for the next 6 months now. So how does that product mix look to you in the next 6 months, and what will be the gross margins be? Will it be in the range of like 30% or 40%? Because that's a huge difference that we saw in this quarter.
Yeah, but
Hello.
See, as I said, we had given a guidance for current financial year FY 21-22 with a top line growth of 10 to 15%, and our EBITDA margin, as per industry norms, it will be in the range of 10 to 11%.
Okay. Okay, fine. So other question related to that then was what happened in the other expenses in Q4? Because even if I exclude for that 35 crore write-off, your other expenses have gone up by almost 20% year on year. And even quarter on quarter, there is a significant increase in other expenses. So are there any one-offs in that also? Or?
No, see, basically during Q4, we had exports, we had some exports with delivered terms, where the local transportation, the local duties, that is also part of the other expenses. So that logistic cost has increased almost 30-40 crores in the Q4 itself.
Okay. And do you
turnover also increased, export turnover also increased compared to last year.
Yeah, Mr. Anup, what?
Yeah, okay, so you're basically saying that net the impact of everything next year should be 10 to 12% EBITDA. We don't see too much margin growth from here on. Is it that the
we may, but our guidance is like that.
This one thing, sir, I think all of this would be helpful to disclose in the investor presentations from next time, because there was a lot of confusion after the results came out. So
we understand that.
Yeah. One more thing was, is the receivables write-off that we saw, is that related in any way to the 42 crores that was shown in last year's annual report as under litigation? So is it that same value?
Some of maybe out of those litigated amount, not 100%, but some amount has written off from litigation amount also.
Okay. And so when you said that the receivables have come in April and May, can you give us some ballpark of, is it back to that normal figure now at the end of May? Where is it right now?
Yeah, end of May, we are, our receivables again at the accepted norms, it is around again 400, between 420, 430 crores.
Got it. Thanks for that. My question to Nikhil and Ramesh sir, if I may. So what do you think, Nikhil, after your stake increase as well, about returning the excess cash on the balance sheet to the shareholders? So the market cap of the business today does not reflect the true intent value, right? So given that we will have soon the Merino Shelters disinvestment as well pay for the ERW capex, what do you think about returning the excess money to the shareholders in whatsoever form?
We will, okay, after the Merino Shelter settling the issue in few months, money will the company, and ultimately the shareholder money will be enhanced. By which manner? By better business margin, by the stock money also will come up, and ultimately financial cost is going to reduce drastically, which is going to reflect in the profit loss account. In any case.
Right. But it would also be good to do some kind of capital allocation policy as we can expect.
It's not clear.
Yeah, we can't hear you clearly. Your voice is breaking.
Yeah. If it's better now?
Yeah, it is better now.
Yeah, I was just saying it would be good to see some kind of policy on either dividends or buybacks or whatsoever manner we choose, so that, the investors have clarity on how we're thinking about returning or enhancing shareholder value in the years to come?
So, Anirudh, already the dividend policy has already been done, and it's been also uploaded. Yeah, it's already uploaded on the website. This has been one of the questions for quite some time with us, so we've prudently now got it done, and it's already been approved and uploaded.
Right.
And regarding buyback or the dividend, obviously the company wants to enhance the shareholders' returns, as well as you said the market cap of the company with the current situation obviously not where it's supposed to be. We understand that, and we are prudently working for better bottom lines, and also in expansion like ERW and also other value-added products. Like we have coating, we already enhanced it, now we have bending also, which we are doing, and other few more value-added products to increase the bottom line. And so we are prudently working towards all of that. And once the Merino money comes in, then definitely we'll be more efficiently using it for the capacity increase in ERW and other projects we have in pipeline to increase the shareholders' returns.
Got it. So thanks for that. And one final question from my side would be, what is then the 3-year outlook that we would have? I understand the situation is dynamic and there are a lot of external factors, but say things remain become normal soon. So then what would be the 3-year outlook, both in terms of like capacity, top line, bottom line, and so on?
So as I already given the guidance, the percentage wise I cannot measure. Last year we had done 20%, better than announcement. This year also we will do much better because the opening order book position is much more comfortable compared to last year. And I hope now the COVID is almost over, so there will be growth momentum continue. The bottom line and top line both will be greatly benefited.
Got it. Okay, thanks. All from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next question. That is on the line of Gaurav Himatsinka from Mirae. Please go ahead.
That raw material prices of steel have gone up.
Sorry to interrupt, Gaurav. We lost the audio from your line.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Raw material prices of steel have gone up drastically. So what is the volume growth target for this year? And my second question is, do you feel that our margins or value addition have also increased because of this increase in raw material?
No. We can say because of the raw material volume gone up, if the volume is same, even the turnover will increase. I think that is your question.
That's right.
We are in a project business. Normally we book back-to-back arrangement, 80-90%. Maybe some position open, which is not drastically very high. And other commodity we also increase. But margin in our business, because of some liquidity projects, always every year come. Maybe last year also some very good project. This year also we got some good projects. So overall, it's difficult to quantify in the beginning of the year because how the market is behaving in future. But normally in our business, pass through is very quick. Which I can.
Are we targeting any volume increase this year, sir?
Volume increase, yes, we will. It's our wish to get the more business after the COVID. Oil prices now stable, gone up. I hope the last 2 years whatever projects were stuck up, all are going to open again. And India also having a great plan for gas networking and some projects on the drawing board to execution is coming very soon. So we hope, I cannot say 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. But definitely there will be growth momentum in this business internationally as well as domestically.
Thank you. Thank you. You answered my question. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saket Kapoor from Kapoor and Company. Please go ahead. Mr. Saket Kapoor?
Yeah. Namaste, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, firstly, what has been our export for the last 2 fiscals, sir? Out of the total sales, what is the export percentage?
See, 1920 we had exports of around in the ratio of 25% export and 75% of domestic. But FY 2021, our export was 75% and domestic was 25%.
Sir, come again, sir. I missed the number. For 21?
FY 21 exports is 75% and domestic is 25%.
Okay. So, for the last fiscal, 3/4 was towards the export market only. And which geographies, sir, we have covered and the key clientele, if you could give some idea?
The oil and gas companies in Middle East as well as to some Southeast Asia, and from Africa part, there is our focus market in oil and gas.
Right, sir. And sir, what is the current order book, sir? The confirmed order book which we have as on the event date, 31st May?
1,600 approximately order book.
Okay. And can you give the split between HSAW and LSAW? And how much, what would be towards water and how much would be towards the oil and gas space?
No, mostly oil and gas. Maybe more than 90% oil and gas. And HSAW, this moment we do not have the figure because we have some other facilities between HSAW and LSAW.
Sir, I'm unable to hear you. So just come again. Hello.
Mostly in LSAW, we do not have the quantum right now.
Right, sir. And sir, what was our pipe volume, sir, for the last year? And our capacity, I think, so mentioned in the presentation is 1 million, 5 lakh equally split between HSAW and LSAW. So, what was the utilization levels? What was the volume sold throughout the year? And if you could give quantitative for the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Quantity we do not have right now handy here, but the capacity was all around 50-60% overall because every segment is different.
Hello?
Dad, we can't hear you. I'll answer.
Capacity utilization will be 50-60% last year also, this year also, but we hope to increase it. And most of the export business in LSAW and domestic business in HSAW. Yeah.
Right, sir. In your presentation, sir, going forward, if you could give the volume numbers also for the pipe, what have been the production and sales, that would be very useful for investors, sir. If we can provide the volume data also.
Yeah, we will see in future.
Right, sir. And from the sale of that equity company which you have told, sir, how much would be the cash accrual? Total, what is the money we will receive?
No, money, we are selling the equity. It's the total 100 crore equity is their company, which is company intend to sell it to someone. So that is going on.
And it is engaged in which business, sir? I'm not known.
Sorry?
What is the company doing, sir? वो company का business क्या है जो हम लोग बेच रहे हैं?
This is a real estate company which we are selling the company.
Yeah. Right. एक सेकंड. ठीक है सर. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pranay Zaveri from J&J Holdings. Please go ahead.
Thank you for this opportunity again. Sir, this Merino shelter, the investment is around 110 crores, right, from our side?
Yes.
Is that all, or there is a loan amount also which is outstanding?
You see, it is total about 110 crores, including 8 crores of loan.
Okay. And do we expect any writes-off over there in terms of, as you said that we will close this transaction in 100%. So, are we expecting any write-down over there?
This is under negotiation this moment. So we cannot give any figure but the company loan will come back, and equity also we are trying to sell as much as possible to get out from this business. So we cannot quantify because the negotiation is going on this moment.
So in case if there is any write-off also, it will not be a major, no? That's what my question is.
Maybe write-off, maybe no write-off. This moment, very difficult to say.
Okay,
and
fine.
that's why once we then we have to go to shareholder to take the permission, take the approval. Then definitely you will come. Yeah.
Okay. And sir, on ERW side, you mentioned that we plan to invest about 130 crores, right? I just wanted to reconfirm 130 crore investment, and the sales expected could be in the range of 800 to 1,100 crores, right?
Yes, sir.
Sorry?
Yes, correct.
The investment and the turnover will be between 800 to 1,000 crore additional revenue is going to start.
And it can generate an EBITDA of about 10-12%.
Yes.
12% we are estimating.
Okay. Sir, just one observation. So if I see your net debt, which is about 200 crores, and investment of over 100 crores in Merino, which is so basically your gross net debt is about 130 crores as well as 190 crores, and you are planning to invest 130 crores in your ERW facility.
Right.
So say total is about 320-330 crores, and on one hand you have an investment in Merino which is about 100 crores plus, and if I see your cash flows for this year is around 200 crores, so I'm just unable to really reconcile that. We are basically a net debt free company in a year's time after that expansion also. So,
yes, sir.
So my question is in relation to the shareholders' value, the dividends. If you can just enlighten me on that aspect, please.
There is a company wish to reward all the shareholders by way of the various segments, the dividend, the other things also, etc. Since this moment we are deploying the money in the new project, which will be the long term, you will be benefited. So we are not keeping the money in the company. We are putting the betterment really in the company as well as to shareholder. So please wait for this is then the shareholder will be rewarded, I can say.
Mr. Pranay.
Yeah, Nikhil, yeah.
Also, one more thing, whatever the cash the company is generating, we are also working for the ERW, like we said, FY 22 to 2023, the revenues to come in, and we are already working on 23-24 for SS plant, which we are already working on it, and to enhance, to further diversify in the similar segment, we are already looking into that. So definitely the monies or the excess cash flow which is coming in the company, we are going to be deploying for that project, and accordingly also enhancing the shareholders' returns. But that would come in 23-24.
That would be SS pipes.
Yeah, SS seamless pipes.
Sorry, can't hear you. Sorry, Nikhil can't hear you.
SS seamless pipes, yes.
Okay. So basically, what would be your goals in terms of 3 years, 4 years? Where do you want to see this company? Because I really am unable to really see this kind of market cap for you guys, 2,000 crore sales company. If you can just elaborate, where do you see this company in next 3-4 years?
See, definitely we don't see ourselves at the same place where we are. We are the only difference now that since I've come in is that we don't want to only look at the top line. We also want to focus a lot on our bottom lines by improving our system, our overhead costs. So the company is working a lot towards that. Plus all the new projects, even whether it being SS, it's not being looked after only to increase the top line of the company. It's overall to increase the bottom line. And definitely 3 years down the line, we see ourselves at least at a 4,000 approximate number to get there. But like I said, numbers is not something which we are only focusing on. Our focus is also a lot on the bottom line. And like SS is not a major tonnage business, but it's a more EBITDA margin business. So we want to increase the EBITDA levels, which is between 10 to 12% now, to at least to take it up to 14 to 15% consistently 3 years from down the line.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saket Kapoor from Kapoor and Company. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Again, thank you again, sir. For the ERW, sir, the capacity which we are putting up, it is 125,000 tons.
Yes.
That will, okay, sir, and that will come up in a phased manner?
No, that is the first phase.
Okay, and sir, currently, sir, who are the key ERW players in the country, and with 125,000 capacity, what would be our market share?
So we would be around 12% of the market share. And the existing players are Maharashtra Seamless, there is Surya, and Welspun.
In that pecking order itself of market share.
Sorry?
In that pecking order of market share, Maharashtra will be the number one player, then it is Surya Roshni, and then Welspun, and you will be the...
Ratnamani also.
Ratnamani also, yes.
Right, sir. And sir, for the seamless stainless part of the story, could you elaborate more, sir? It is the same where Ratnamani is operating currently. That would be the one we are eyeing, or it will be related, since it is seamless, it will be related to the oil exploration rather than the transportation?
No, the SS business, we are looking into seamless business. Ratnamani has two segments, welded and seamless. We are focusing on seamless, which is majorly used for defense and refineries and everything.
Okay.
And the approximate capacity would be between 15 to 20,000 tons installed capacity.
Once the feasibility is completed, we will inform our shareholder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, sir. For the pipe industry, sir, just to get a holistic view, as we have seen numbers from the different major pipe players like Jindal SAW and all, and their management commentary, they all are pointing towards going forward to say a top line growth in the higher two digits. So this is a very capex and a government dominant industry. So, sir, how confident are you that the capex that has been promised from the government side will actually come through, and it will be a benefit across the trajectory to all the players? Because I think it is total dominance of the government only in the ordered part.
Okay, I will reply this question. If you see, the government directly is not involved. Government is policy, environment, approval, etc. Fortunately, it is a good thing. Our plant is in Navaratna. GAIL, IOCL, HPCL, BPCL, all government, ONGC, all good companies. So the government domination may be approval, etc., but not directly with us, because we do not do the execution. We supply only pipe. Our responsibility is lower. And the ERW, because of the city gas distribution, is a new segment which recently started in India last 2 years, and the many cities government has covered. For most important, city gas distribution, more than 50%, the bidders and successful companies are from private sector, like Adani, Torrent, and lot of other people also. So we have a good combination from government companies, private companies, and in the export market also, a lot of private companies are there. So we have a good basket as regards to the list of clients. Hello?
Thank you.
Yeah.
The next question is from the line of Gaurav Himatsinka from Mioru. Please go ahead.
Another question, there was a pending litigation before the Bombay High Court for some family arbitration, and I see some shareholding of our company in the name of a receiver. Can you throw some light on this matter, please?
As regards to company, only record date matter is pending. Nothing else. We called up the record date. We completed our formalities. So from our side, formality is completed. Now the Bombay High Court will give the instruction to main infra project, main infra to issue the share. As regard to company, there is no other dispute. As regard to between me and JCM, that is our family, most of the matter is settled down. We are died. That is a different issue. As regard to promoters matter, is different. The company is very clean and no involvement of JCM Municipality, shareholding, and nothing is there in the company.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the last question. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Mahantesh for his closing comments.
Thank you everyone for your participation in our Q4 FY21 earnings call. In case of any further queries, feel free to get in touch with us or Pareto Capital. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Man Industries India Limited, that concludes this conference call. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines. Thank you.